person's opinion has that thing we need. So I think the world needs to be one hand and build this the right way.
Well, I'd love to see more unity. If we would be more united, then our beautiful picture of 2045 is going to be realized.
I think one other obstacle that we're going to have is ignorance and people not wanting to take charge, initiative, or responsibility, because it's so easy for us to blame the government, to blame the international communities, but we are not willing to say, no, I'm the one who's responsible for changing the world I'm living in. So I think the best way for this is to empower people mentally and even physically for them to be strong enough to actually take charge and change the world.
It would help to empower people to take charge. There are two hands, the side.
Am I not missing anyone from the front?
I didn't see one.
We're fine. You go, girl.
I think that conflict contracted by rivalries between global powers such as geopolitical aggression will not lead to world peace. If we have countries such as Syria, Yemen, and Iraq still waging war on each other, how will the UN be able to solve world peace then? That leads to panic over immigration and migration. As desperate people flee from the conflict zones, forced immigration is doing quite a number on neighboring countries that are still trying to cope with that situation. Even though the government may try to close off their borders and while trying to shut down the problem, they are still failing to look at what is arousing that problem. It's like trying to pull a door that says push. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Conflicts amongst countries?
I think poverty is the main obstacle to educate. I will give you a practical example. There's this man from rural areas. He's just failing to put on his mask. How is he going to be able to see the future if he's just failing to do a simple instruction to put on his mask?
Yeah.
Poverty.
Simple instruction.
Simple instruction to wear a mask. So you have identified some obstacles that you think might hinder us from achieving our beautiful vision that we see, where we see ourselves in 2045. So what is there anything that you think the UN can do about this? How can global cooperation, in particular the UN, better help manage these challenges? You've highlighted and you've come up with challenges. Do you think the UN can do anything? Or what are you saying the UN needs to do? What can global cooperation, what can be done as a cooperator globally in order to tackle the challenges as Kumangaulan? UN asasitfume. Kuthi ungabe naku lesikusho ukuthi sekungenteka singafiki kahle kunang 2045 lo mhle kangaka. UN ungasendela ini silive.
I think like in achieving a good lifestyle for everyone, I think the UN can play a role in putting policies, structures that can help to govern countries' decision making. In the effect of the crisis, the coronavirus, like if UN was to be the one like taking a leading role in ensuring that every country has the proper incentives in trying to save life. UN will be there to put the policies. We cannot make masks to be expensive in this time of their need. And we cannot make the big machines to test coronavirus in this time of need. But you can make it expensive if there's no cause of need, because if there's a person dying, you can't be taking advantage of that situation.
Okay. Policies and controls.
Well, I think that the United Nations can help by coming up with new strategies to help the world economy. And when I say new strategies to help the economy, I'm not saying if impupu being 10 rand, now it should be 40 rand or whatever. No, that is not going to help because we don't even have the money. We are unemployed. So I think that the United Nations should come up with strategies to help our economy, which is very ailing. And it's going to be a long process, long walk to freedom, but then we are going to get there at some point.
Mm-hmm. Another?
Yeah? Another one? Yeah? I also want to speak on the issue of financial freedom. I think the UN should be the one to encourage first world countries to be able to help the most impoverished countries. Like for an example, if there's a budget that needs to be put to place in trying to help stabilize other countries, the G20. So they are the one who are supposed to help inject other countries, making them to get back to their normal conditions.
Supporting countries. There's another hand here. The UN can support countries as they recover.
Okay, first of all, I think it's a good thing to applaud the UN. They are already doing the most. Mm-hmm. But I think one thing they are lacking is doing follow-ups on the programs they implement. Some of these things, they will just come to a country and say, we want to see free primary education. It will happen for 2-3 years, and then they will not follow up on that. And then maybe the leaders will decide, no, this one is going to end. So they do not do EMA follow-up. That is why some of these things end up not being as productive as they had hoped or as we had hoped when we first implemented them. So I think what they have to do now is whenever they enact a program, they have to make sure that they do a follow-up to make sure that they are self-sufficient and they continue to yield the results that are expected.
If the UN could follow up on countries that have started implementing the things that have been guided to implement.
Global corporations must manage gender inequality by making it a first priority that, for example, in businesses, employers should make sure that they hire employees. They should hire employees according to qualifications and skills, not for their gender.
Okay. Again, issues of gender equality, we are rounding up now.
Yeah.
Is that just one hand that's there? Do we have another hand? This is an opportunity for us to even take out the message to you, and let's use it.
I also want to voice out that I think UN should be the one that is doing most of research projects that are foreseeing a lot of the world and how it is going to be. One. In the other thing, I feel like it is so disturbing. In this corona pandemic, you hear a lot of things about it, but I want to put to the UN to be the one that provides accurate information about the coronavirus, because one moment you hear coronavirus is a virus, one moment you hear it's a bacteria, and then at the end of the day you are confused because you don't really know what it is. So I'd like to put to the UN to build structures that are going to be able to send messages, or not even messages, to be the one, in most cases, let's advocate about what is it that is really happening in the world.
Too much in the UN as young people. We can be advocates. Wow.
I also think that the United Nations should invest more in scientific researches for these kinds of viruses, because the coronavirus came and it exposed us as to how much we are lacking in our health sectors. A lot of people are infected with the coronavirus in this country, but then there is not enough equipment or enough doctors for them to be tested and actually recover from the virus. So we need those kinds of things so that if another virus attacks us again, we are better prepared than what we are now, because a lot of people are dying and they are still going to die if nothing or damage control isn't done to try and control the virus.
Investing more in research.
Yeah.
been mentioned by two of us. Wow, beautiful. I think this gives us a beautiful picture of, you really have created a beautiful picture of where we are now, where you want to see the whole world in 2045, and also things that you think might hinder us from getting there. And thank you so much also for the take-home messages that you have given to the UN. How do you want us to clap hands for ourselves? Shaya izandla, shaya izandla, shaya izandla. Kakhulu. Kakhulu. Shaya izandla, shaya izandla, shaya izandla. Kakhulu. Thank you so much.
Wow. Speechless.
Yeah.
This is the 6th or 7th dialogue that I've attended, and I want to tell you that this has been the best for me. Yeah, we always make the mistake of leaving your voices, and they are the best ideas, views, and solutions that we were talking about. So yes, I think I agree with you. You, in 2045, you should lead and we should follow. This is the message for me. Really, we need to allow young people to say how we should do things. Because I think we get tired for some reason. I didn't have most of the ideas that you have. So this is brilliant. And I want to say that you actually have helped not just Eswatini, because everybody should be listening. You've had solutions for Eswatini, but for the world as well, so which is good. So big ups to yourself. I know that you've already done that, but another round of applause for you guys. Thank you very much. In 2045, and I know that all of you will be there, the good thing is that we are recording, so some of the ideas that you've put, you will find them. You can go on YouTube and you will see yourself. And maybe you'll be older. So you will actually have to compare if you were right. Because the evidence is being captured. So in 25 years, come back to YouTube and check, was I really right? Maybe I was, then you clap for yourself. Or you said, no, it didn't go as I hoped for. But yes, thank you very much. From the UN, I think this is why we were here. We wanted to gather your voices. And this has been done perfectly well for me. I'm actually now, I actually was tempted to think, maybe it's the facilitator today that's different. But actually it's you, and her as well. But I've enjoyed it, and I'm sure everybody else has done the same. So, okay, we will do a photo shoot just to make sure that we can remember this. So there are two announcements from me. One is that we didn't have breakfast, so we'll have it now together with the lunch. Sorry about that. But it was good that we started and ran with the program and finished. So we can now deal with the issues of the stomach, which is fine. So you can have your bread and carry your pizza, whatever you chose to eat at home. So it's okay. The other thing is that I'm supposed to intercept a vehicle that's coming with your transport reimbursement. So as we eat, we will also try and make sure that we stay until all that is sorted. So we have not done the registration, so we'll register as we collect our money for bus fare as well. So hang around, let's take photos and also continue to mingle. We still have time. So yeah, the program is over, but I will hand over Maga Natalie will also possibly, I'm sure, as one of the senior managers in the UN, she also sits in meetings with, you know, the leaders in the UN. So the feedback, even to UN, is going to be immediate. So we know the things that you've asked us to do, those are going to happen, or those are going to be issues that we will put on the table and say, you know, young people say we must do this. So thank you very much again. No one wants my...
I don't want your copy, Mr. Mngadi. Guys, I am overwhelmed. I knew you would do this, but you also surprised me today. Do you want to give yourself another round of applause? But this time, do that. Do that. Do that.